Hello and welcome to all of you out there, dear astrology friends. Welcome to this new video about the June horoscopes of 2025 with me, Veerle, Veerle. Let's break this down. So the month of June really has this focus of the planet Jupiter entering a new sign from Taurus, where it's been like almost, you could say approximately a year, and now it's shifting into the sign of Cancer, rounded about, you could say, the 10th of June of 2025. I made a whole separate video already of Jupiter in Cancer if you want to go more into the depths of this. So check out at the end of the video or in my playlist, you will find Jupiter in Cancer. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal that I'm going to talk about, not only for the collective, but definitely for each and every sign. What does that mean, Jupiter there? The second thing is that, which is a beautiful thing, Jupiter shifting into a sign that it loves to be in, but during the month of June, as much as I don't like to say but, there's like a couple of, you could say a week and a half, that this new Jupiter in Cancer is directly bumping into a square to Saturn. So we're going to talk about that, but it's just a week, right? So after that, it's full on. After that, you can actually see it very well that this Jupiter kind of feels revived again, and it's forming a conjunction with the new moon in Cancer on the 25th of the month, approximately the 25th. Then we're going to have the sun and Jupiter and the moon all around and about 4 degrees of Cancer. So it's like, I kind of passed the test with Saturn, and now I'm this full new beginning, and I can do my thing in the sign of Cancer. So that is a bit like, in a nutshell, what is going on in June. Of course, at the background, you could say Saturn and Neptune are still at the very beginning of Aries, and they're almost forming a conjunction, but the conjunction is not exact, but they're very, very close to each other, Saturn and Neptune, like 1 degrees of Aries. But they're only going to go into a conjunction in February of 2026, but we're feeling already very much this energy. And then, last but not least, Venus will be in an earth sign, which is Taurus, as from the 7th of June, so for the rest of the month, so an earth sign. And then Mars is also going to shift from Leo into an earth sign, which is Virgo, and that's going to be on the 18th of June. So we're seeing that we have a lot more, although, Pluto in Aquarius, which is air, and we have a little bit of fire, which is Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Now we're having Jupiter in Cancer, which is a water sign, and we also have that support from the water sign towards these two planets, Venus and Mars. They are quicker, they go faster, but they are now in Earth. So we have a very beautiful, you could say, balance of the 4 elements. And when that happens, it means that no matter what, we can really kind of tap into helplines, so to speak. But the thing is that when this Jupiter bumps into the sign of Cancer, it first bumps into Saturn, but then you could say it kind of shifts when this is done, because Saturn goes so slower. What kind of happens is when Jupiter comes into 0 degree, 1 degree, but Saturn is not going so fast. So they're going to make that square, and Saturn will be the whole month, you could say, approximately around 0 to 1 degree of Aries. So it kind of passes, and then it makes a beautiful sextile, this Jupiter, to Venus on the one side in an earth sign, and to Mars on the other side in Virgo, to another earth sign, which is called a beautiful little triangle, which always means support things going fluidly. And then we have that new moon at the end of the month. So all in all, not a bad month at all. If we kind of go with the flow, in other words, if we kind of accept that in the beginning, when this Jupiter comes into a new sign of Cancer, that we are cautious, and then we cannot go wrong. So what it means, very shortly here, because I explained this in depth in the video of Jupiter in Cancer, but what does it mean to have now Jupiter, the planet of purpose, the planet of optimism, the planet of growth, expansion, but also about knowledge? It's entering the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of La Mama. It's the sign of we're going to protect what we love. It's the sign of we're going to make sure that we are comfortable so that we can grow in life. And it's the sign of home and family, real estate, all these things. Now, when Jupiter comes into the sign of Cancer, it means that we are going to all collectively find more purpose in these Cancerian kind of things. Right? Because Jupiter in Cancer means finding purpose, finding expansion and growth into those areas of life that I just mentioned. So we have that opportunity for sure to grow, you could say, family, to grow relationships with family, also to grow that we protect the ones that we love, also grow real estate, grow the nurturing side of life, so to speak. Jupiter in Cancer is very much associated with hospitality and all that kind of energy. So, but as I said earlier, in the beginning, when this Jupiter enters on the 10th, this planet of Cancer, it's going to bump into Saturn, Neptune in Aries. So it's not only the square to Saturn, by the way, it's also the square to Neptune. detail, important detail. But what it means is that we're going to be associated, but that we're going to be challenged in some way. I'm going to look for everyone where that Saturn Neptune is in your chart, because that is where the challenge is. So it means expansion, yes, but hey, caution, not too quick. So it's like slow growth, you could say. When Jupiter is in Cancer, yes, I know the classical astrology says, oh, Jupiter is in its exaltation when it is in Cancer, but don't think that, oh, that's a good thing and Jupiter in Gemini is a bad thing. It doesn't work that way. It's just that planet kind of feels at ease in the sign of Cancer, because growth is easy if you can do that in the sign of Cancer, where it is all about nourishment and protection and comfort and expansion for the future. But the thing is that if we believe too much that, oh, this is good, this is bad, I mean, we can't do astrology well, I can't say we, but it's very challenging to do astrology, because then you kind of put it in your head, and what you put in your head becomes reality. Now look at, for instance, when you say Jupiter is the planet of expansion, the planet of growth, and someone having Jupiter in Gemini, I looked it up. What's his name? The very old businessman, Warren Buffett or Warren, what's his, who I mean, probably better than I do, the American investor. He's a big investor and he's 95 years old and he's much in the news as I speak now. But he's got Jupiter in Gemini. I mean, I don't think you can think of that he hasn't had growth in his life. Anyway, just something to ponder in. Jupiter in Gemini means that you're going to have to do that planet Jupiter growth in an alternative way, in a different way. That's it, right? The same as like Venus in Taurus, which we're going to have on the 7th of June. Very good. It likes to be there. It's at ease. It wants to enjoy itself. It wants to relax and be comfortable, have a good glass of wine and enjoy beautiful clothing and quality products and whatnot. But that doesn't mean to say that the opposite sign, Venus in Scorpio, that is bad. No, it means that it's a bit alternative. You have to do a little bit of more, being conscious of how to turn this around and do it in your favor. That's it. We are the captain of our ship. Don't ever forget that. Because I don't like it when people say like, oh, I have a bad planet. You don't. You just have to do it in an alternative way. That's everything. Anyway, I made my point. So yes, Jupiter in Gemini, you could say it was in its detriment. And then Jupiter in Cancer, I want to be all dramatic here. And then Jupiter in Cancer, wow, it's fantastic. No, it doesn't work that way. But the thing is that this Jupiter in Cancer is going to feel very much restricted because of the square to Saturn, but also a bit like, what am I supposed to do? Because to the square, not the swear, but the square to Neptune. Because Neptune is idealism, it's no boundaries. Saturn is boundaries, down to earth. Remember that conjunction? I also made a video about it. If you want to fresh it up, watch it. Saturn, it's called Saturn conjunct Neptune. That video is all about these two planets that have nothing to do with each other. The one wants to restrict and to slow down, and the other one wants to expand and wants to, cross all the boundaries. And it's the idealist versus the realist. But the thing is, when it comes to a conjunction, and definitely in Aries, that you want to start something new and pioneering, that is a dream making true by having the idea, Neptune, and the vision, but also having the consistency and the practicalities of, the discipline to work for it in a consistent way every single day. Then you're going to make your dream come true. As in the example that I was talking about, if you want to create muscles, you have to do that every single day. And you have to keep the idealism. That's what it is, a dream making true. It's earth versus, the Saturnal energy, you could say, the down to earthness versus the idea. Okay, so we're going to be challenged in the beginning because and I think this is not a bad thing at all. Because when we have this Jupiter in Cancer, so collectively we're all going to feel that, oh, this is easy, this makes sense, this is natural. We want to expand in a certain way where Cancer is in our chart. But hey, first we have to be very cautious here. And we have to be not dreaming too much. And the insecurity, see it as something positive so that it slows down, right? Because when something squares Neptune, it is like, slow down, please. Because it's the same as when you're driving in the mist. What are you going to do? Are you going to accelerate? No. You're not going to put your car in the sports stand, in the stand of sport. No, when there is fog all over, you're going to slow down and you're going to be alert. So, and I'm talking here about the 10th up until like the 17th, 18th of June. So, and in particular, the Cancerians. Because the not the early born, but the Cancerians who've got a sun, a moon, an ascendant on 0 to 4 degrees of Cancer, they might feel, oh, Jupiter is in my sign every 12 years. Oh, I'm going to expand. And it's not happening. Beware of it's because it's for the best. It's because you kind of be the realist and the idealist at the same time. And, go slowly but surely. Don't take a shortcut. It's not the time for that. Right? So it's about sitting it out, yes, and it's also about slowly but rather surely, what are the practicalities for this growth? Where do I have to be very cautious of? Where do I have to be realistic? And where do I have to also keep the dream? Right? So that's very important. And then Jupiter at the end of the month, it's full on, and don't forget that we had Mars in Cancer going retrograde for such a long time. So this is an area of our life where we already had those going forwards and backwards, and how am I going to take the plan of action, right? Because Mars is action, and Cancer in that sign, that area of your life. Because I had a comment that I said everyone has Cancer in their chart, right? Someone commented like, oh, but I don't have any Cancer in my chart. Yes, you do. Everyone has an area of life that you kind of put the jacket on of the Cancerian, even if there are no planets there. That's how you behave. If you have, for instance, let's say the seventh house, Cancer there. That means that your relationship that you're attracted, they're very Cancerian kind of energy, the energy, right? It's about you feeling nurtured, feeling understood, doing things together that is very comfy, and so on, emotionally understood as well. So you see, we all express that in our chart in a different way. So we already worked so hard. What I'm trying to say here is that we already worked so hard with the Mars going backwards, forwards, in November, December, January, February. Yes, it also was in Leo, but a big chunk of that Mars retrograde was in Cancer. So we already did a lot of adjustments. So now it's like I'm really focusing on see it as a good thing, this Jupiter square Saturn, Neptune, which is not like the easiest at all, but see it as a good thing. And second, it's very temporary. It's very temporary. And if we know that, it is very, very, you could say, interesting. And it helps, doesn't it? If you know, okay, this transit, it's a bit challenging, but it's only going to last for a week, I can deal with it better. And you understand it. And you don't resist it that much. Because remember, what we resist persists. So don't resist. My advice to you is where the Saturn Neptune is going to be. Don't resist the energy there that is going on, that seems to be a bit restricted, that seems to go slower. It's all in the divine planning. And so that you can go fully on expanding that area of life where Cancer is. Because that's for all of us, that we fully expand that energy. And Venus in Taurus and Mars in Virgo is only going to help that Jupiter by being practical, by being down to earth, by doing some practical stuff, by enjoying also the 3D world, right? The world that we are living in, the here and the now. And it's very grounding energy. So the midst of the month, as I said, and also you could say it already started the 9th and the 10th of the month, because then also we will have Venus square Pluto, Venus at the end of Taurus. Venus in the beginning of Taurus, square bumping into Pluto, but that's only 2 days. But again, intensity, transformational energy around values, what we love, what we don't love. And then we're going to have Mars square Uranus. That's, you could say, around the 13th of the month. I'm going to double check it. So it's only a couple of days, Mars square Uranus, but it's 13th, 14th of the month. So, which means that we want to free ourselves up and we want to get out of a rut. So a bit frustrating energy to say the least, but we will be able to liberate ourselves from that. And at the end of the month, we're going to feel that, yes, off you go in that area of life that I am talking about. Let's delve into it. I'm not going to be too, too excessive in my explanation, because I want to make it very, clear. Okay, that's the area of life that's going to expand. That is where Saturn Neptune is, and where you might feel a little bit of that resistance. And Saturn Neptune, when it's in the square to Jupiter, it's like 1 week, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay at the work that I do now. And then the other week it's I'm gonna work for myself. And then the other week, no, I'm gonna stay at home and work at home in another company. And then the other week, no, I'm gonna be self-employed. You see, it's very insecure. But if you stick with it and you know that ultimately after the not knowing and the insecurity comes the security and the knowing, that's what this is all about. Let's jump into this. So for Aries, this is your 4th house, Jupiter in your 4th house. I love this for the Aries people. Why? Because it gives a good, the 4th house is, yes, it's your home. So some of you might be moving bigger, Jupiter. Or near the water, right? Jupiter in Cancer. But in general, it means that you feel emotionally secure, and that is you feel like, and when you feel emotionally rooted and secure, you kind of feel strong and you can make better choices and you are more optimistic. Now, the thing is that it kind of squares into to your sign, which is Saturn, Neptune. So, and this is your life path. So, in around the midst, if you are really doubting yourself, it's normal, right? And just kind of go with that flow and listen to it. But then at the end of the month, you have this new beginning. You definitely have a new beginning when it comes to how you react emotionally. It's going to be way more, you could say, wise, Jupiter, and not reactive, but responsive. I really like that for you. And you're also going to support from Venus in the second house of your resources, belongings, and then as from the 18th of the month, Mars goes into Virgo, which is your sixth house. So these are the money houses. So there is more money coming in and you validating yourself more. And that is good. That is good. But all in all, it's about, of course, Jupiter is not going to be there just for this month. It's going to be for a long time in your fourth house. Enjoy it. Enjoy that you feel emotionally more nourished and that you also find more purpose than ever in your family and in the way that you are emotionally content. Taurians, this is Jupiter transiting your third house. So there is a lot of potential and growth, not maybe exactly in June, but definitely after that, and particularly at the end of it, when you're going to have that new moon there with Jupiter, you're going to have that growth of the third house, which is ideal to do short trips, which is ideal to study something new, a skill, which is ideal to teach yourself, which is ideal to expand your PR if you have your own business, for instance, which is ideal if you want to be more around and about and social with your neighbors, with your siblings, to have like more of a finding more purpose in that. So it's on a mental level for you. And also, very important, it's that mindset of yours, the self-talk that you do. Right? We're all talking to ourselves. Oh, this is not going to happen, or this is going to happen. It's going to be more positive with Jupiter in your third house. As I said in the beginning, it squares up to Saturn, Neptune in your 12th house. So check out your blind spots, that you're not falling for the escape routes that you might have done in the past, whatever they are for you. But Saturn, Neptune is trying to kind of make a dream come true when it comes to releasing something that has been dragging you down for a long, long time. Of course, Venus in your sign, you're going to be a butterfly, right? You're going to be, people are going to be so attracted to you, even more than normal. And Venus in your sign is lovely because that means that you kind of feel in tune more, you kind of validate yourself more. It's good to, if you want to have like a new garderobe, or you want to do your hair in a different way. Venus in Taurus, perfect for that. And it trines Mars in the fifth house, so which is the house of self-expression, the hobbies, and you kind of enjoy yourself more by doing the things that you love to do, as a child, right? So make it a great month for sure. Geminis, this is Jupiter in your second house. I really love this for you because the second house is a house first and foremost about our self-worth. And when I see Jupiter crossing it, going into it, it's definitely an expansion of your confidence, which is so good, isn't it? Because it takes such a while to build it, and it's so easy to kind of break it. But with the Jupiter here, it shows growth of money as well, your assets, and of course, this is not just June. This is going to be for the whole year, and so you've got this opportunity here to expand that, to improve that. I love that for you. As I said in the beginning of the intro of this video, it squares to Saturn, Neptune in around those from the 10th to the 17th to your 11th house. So that means that some goals and objectives are a bit like, make sure that they're practical, but make also sure that they are aimed towards the long term, right? Towards something positive in the long term. Also when friends, so it could be that there is a bit of a resistance there from friends. Maybe friends are just not really support us as they used to, or there is a shift in the friend circle there in the beginning. But whatever it is, there is growth coming for you for sure when it comes to your resources. Now Venus is going to be in the 12th and Mars is going to be in the 4th, so in Virgo. So that could mean that in the background, and you're not saying it to anyone, you're kind of improving how you're going to do your home life, or you're kind of traveling far away, and but in specific, because this is water energy, this means that emotionally you almost feel like you have this support from the unseen world, you could say. And on another level, what this also means is if you want to do some charity, this is a good energy for that. Venus in the 12th, and then that Mars in the 4th. Like, for instance, you want to just clean up and you want to kind of declutter and you all want to give it away, something like that. Very nice. And this Jupiter in your 2nd house, Jupiter also rules your 10th house and your 7th house. So this has a lot to do with also growth in relationships and growth in work. Cancerians, this is you. This is the whole intro was for you. You're going to have Jupiter in your sign. So as I said, in particularly for those Cancerians who have planets between 0 and 4 degrees, watch out there, because that can mean that, oh, you think I have Jupiter now on my sun sign or on my ascendant, and Veerle said that is growth and I don't feel it. Remember that square Saturn, Neptune in the 10th house. So you might have a little bit of a delay caused by career, or by ideas around career, or parents, or ideas around your attitude around parents. So, but whatever it is, at the end of the month, this is this new beginning for you. You're going to have that sun, that moon, that Jupiter on the 25th of the month, all conjoining in your sign. So this is definitely a new beginning for you, for everything, because the 1st house is your life path. So it is in relationships. So you could be dealing with new relationships, ending of relationships that are no longer suiting you. But there is an optimism there. There is like you finding purpose in you finding purpose in your own growth, and you finding purpose also in connecting with people who are the same, right? Because when you're together with someone and you want to grow and they don't, you've got a problem. You've got a problem there. So, but now this with Jupiter in your sign, you're pretty optimistic, and you feel, as we proceed in time, you're going to feel more and more this purposeful, energetic energy of yes, of hope, and juiciness of life as well for the future when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your work, your career, all parts of your life. So beautiful. And that is for a whole year. And now you even have the support of Venus and Mars, because these are earth signs, and earth signs go well with the water sign. So you're going to have Venus in the 11th house, the house of friends, the house of also ideas for the future. So relate to your friends, go out with your friends, talk about your future and your plans. And it's in a sextile to Mars in the 3rd. So there could be some short trips. There could also be a lot of social activity in the neighborhood with siblings. And also, if you have your own business, doing your PR, or you learning something, learning a new skill, and being very practical and down to earth. The 3rd house is more like, I'm going to do a workshop and how to work with a certain tool, for instance, or whatever it is, or and that's the energy that you are going to use. Leos, this is happening, Jupiter in your 12th house. This is very, you could say, behind the scenes. This is something, because the 12th house is the unconscious house. It's our hidden patterns are stuffed up there, so that we can. It's a lot when Jupiter comes into that, when we can release this, when we find purpose, you could say, in rest, when we find purpose in peacefulness, in a bit withdrawing every now and then to reload your batteries, whether it is to go to a faraway place, whether it is to relax. And but it certainly feels like Jupiter in the 12th also that you, from the unseen world, are protected. I know that sounds a little bit outer worldly, but that's Jupiter in the 12th house. So it's preparing itself to get into your sign, but which is going to be, 12 months approximately from now, or a bit more. As I said in the beginning, this expansion when it comes to you understanding how to relax better, you understanding and finding purpose in understanding your patterns that you use that are no longer serving you, that you release them. They square up to Saturn, Neptune in your 9th house. So in the midst of the month. So it could mean that there is a bit of a fight going on with your higher mind. This is on a mind level, by the way. On the higher mind, that you know that you have that mindset and that belief system. Is it practical? Is it long-term ideal? And one week you're going to believe in this, and the other week you're going to believe in something else. So it's a bit unstable there, but not for long, as I said. This is to create and to you could say, have that ideal mindset, that it is very practical mindset. So the belief system that is of the 3D world, but at the same time, that is very, very much connected with all there is, which gives you really that sense of trust in the universe. And when we have that, it empowers us for sure. Now, Venus in the 10th, sextiling Mars in your 2nd house, is more on a level of work and career. You could be having a boost there, a promotion there. If you want to, it's now the time to ask it. Venus in your 10th house and Mars in the 2nd, it's getting more money out of the career. That's one thing. On another level, it's about confidence. You're feeling more confident, and you improving your assets, so to speak, and also your confidence. Virgos, this is all happening in your 11th house. And of course, don't forget, this is your time because you're going to have your Mars in your sign very soon, around the 18th of the month, which means for you in itself already new beginnings and new starts, new projects that you want to start, new relationships that you want to start, new ideas, new things that you want to generate here for the next 2 years, because when Mars, it makes its 12 signs transit for 2 years. But this Jupiter in the 11th house is this expansion in the house of friends, and the house also of, if you work for yourself, it's your income as well, getting out of that self-employed energy, you could say, because the 11th house is the 2nd house from the 10th house. So friends and benefits, you could say, also friends and benefits, but you could say gains that you have as well. And it's a very social house. So you're going to have that expansion there. Might be not directly in June, remember, because it squares up to Saturn and Neptune in your 8th house. So there might be a fear of intimacy. There might be a fear of showing who you truly are towards those friends and like-minded people. But that's just the beginning. If you go through that barrier of fear, and definitely the end of the month when Mars enters your sign, and then that new moon in that 11th house there at the 25th of June, it shows that there might be a new friendship, there might be a new gain, there might be a new idea and project that you're going to start that is related to social media as well, or that is related to you doing something with like-minded people. So it's a very buoyant energy for you, and particularly it's a good month for you because you have that Venus support as well in another fellow Earth sign in your 9th house, and that is trining Mars in your house. So this could also mean love, right? For those of you who are single, who want love, it could be love from abroad, or a person who's got cultural differences from you, but who's different, who's um, unique in that kind of way, but very beautiful. I mean, this is energy that is very supporting you in whatever it is that you want to do. So if you're going to start something that is new, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a plan of work, this shows that it's going to gain momentum. This also shows, for instance, if you want to start something on the social media, this shows a beautiful following with Jupiter in your 11th house. Maybe not in the beginning, but in the beginning, I mean, the midst of June, but very beautiful indeed. Librans, this is happening, this Jupiter in your 10th house, the highest point of your horoscope, and you will feel this very much if you have Libra planets between 0 to 4 degrees of Libra. You're going to feel this, what I'm talking about, this whole intro as well. But as I said, Jupiter, it rules your 6th house of your day-to-day work and the 3rd house of your thinking and what you're saying to yourself, and it's at the top of your chart. The 10th house is career. If you're not having a career, it is the connection with parents, but it is also how you want to be seen by the world. Anyway, it's a bit like a Jupiter on your ascendant, so to speak. And this means that you're growing, that there is expansion possible for growth when it comes to your career, for sure. But keep in mind that during the midst of the month, that there is this square to Saturn, Neptune in your opposite sign, of Aries. So that could mean that someone is kind of blocking you, or it seems that they're blocking you, or maybe you're having an idea for expanding. This is a simple example. You have an idea of expanding, or you're going to, or you are expanding your work and your career, and your spouse is saying no, right? Or your spouse is saying this and that, and it is possible, something like that. But whatever it is, there is also this beautiful energy for you with Venus in the 8th house, trining Mars in the 12th. So you could get support financially from others, right? So like loans or tax returns, inheritances, Venus in the 8th, trining Mars in the 12th. So that is unseen, and people don't know that you're having that support there. And Mars in the 12th, although you could say, yeah, Mars in the 12th is like, it's preparing itself, of course, to come into your sign, Mars in Libra. And when is that going to be? Which is all spotlights on you, but that's going to be for August. But use this Mars in your 12th house to prepare something for the long term. And don't really rush into that expansion there in the 10th house. Know that it needs its time, and certainly in the beginning. So focus on the long term, work behind the scenes. It could mean a little bit restless there and not having that much of sleep, but could also mean Venus in the 8th and Mars in the 12th. Oh yes, it could mean like a relationship in secret. I mean, I'm not judging, but it could mean that as well. That you're doing this because you're working together, for instance, and it's a bit of a taboo, whatever it is. But this is not going to stay that long, because when Mars is in your sign, you're going to say this is what it is, and that's good. Scorpios, this is this Jupiter in your 9th house. This is lovely because you are a water sign, Jupiter in Cancer, also a water sign. So this is a lot of support. And it's in the part of your chart that has to do with you belonging to everything that there is. That's the 9th house. It's your belief system, yes, but it's also that connection with the divine, with nature, with God, with Allah, you name it, with something that is bigger than us. And having Jupiter there, it's a very, your mental state, your belief system, there is a more purpose there, more positivity. So you could be traveling more around the world with Jupiter there. You could be studying and expanding your horizons, so to speak. You could be publishing and writing. But all of that, remember, in June is the midst of June squared up to Saturn and Neptune in your sixth house. So there's a bit of a lifestyle adjustment, you could say. So that the one week you're very disciplined, and the other week you're kind of lazy and can't discipline yourself at all. So there is this adjustment, but it's only going to take up until like the 17th, 18th of the month, and definitely then you're going to have also that shift of Mars, your ancient ruler in Leo, towards your 11th house in Virgo, trining your Venus in the 7th house, which means beautiful for relationships, dear Scorpio. So if you have been struggling, this is nice energy. Venus in the 7th house, which means whether you've been struggling or not, there is more peace, or at least you want more peace. And but there is also this other person or other people that want the same, and that you're going to attract, who are going to be very Venusian. Normally you attract Venusian people anyways because of Taurus descendant, but now with Venus there, it's like emphasized. And then trining to your 11th house with Mars is beautiful, because it could mean like you meet someone from the friend zone to the lover zone, to the romantic zone, so to speak. But whatever it is beautiful connection here. It's very social as well. You could be doing things with friends, and with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, that you're doing together, that you have some plans there, lots of travel, expansion. This is beautiful, dear Scorpios. So again, a bit of a slowing down in the beginning, and you might have that monkey mind here in the beginning, when Jupiter starts to get into Cancer. But ultimately, Jupiter in Cancer wants you to grow, wants you to expand your vision, and not to be so, rigid or fixed or being in a rut. Not at all. When the 9th house is activated in a beautiful way, your whole chart is activated in a beautiful way. Nice. Sagittarians, how interesting. This Jupiter in your 8th house. So you have been doing a lot of work there already when Mars was going backwards and forwards in that house of Cancer. And now you're getting Jupiter there. I love it, because this is really interesting, because Jupiter is not just a planet, it's your planet, it's you, it's your ruler. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So for you, it's a huge, you could say, change and a huge shift that all the Sagittarians and the Pisceans will feel very strongly. That they feel that things go a little bit more natural. You don't have to look for all these alternatives and do it in a different way. It feels all more going with the flow. But it is the 8th house. So it's like you're transforming. You're going to be transformed this year. That's for sure. That's for sure, because your ruler, you, are in the 8th house for not only June, it's for the rest of the year. Now, in a good way, in the long run, this is for you to improve that 8th house, right? But in the beginning, as I said, in June, it's going to square up to Saturn and Neptune in your 5th house. So that 5th house could really slow down that growth of the 8th house. Let me explain what that could be. Combination of 5th and 8th house. It's different levels. First of all, it's levels of relationship, intimacy, sexuality. So you could be having, for instance, in your relationship, in Jupiter in the 8th, you encounter intimacy, you encounter, and your ruler in the 8th, it's not just about sex, it's like the body, the mind, and the soul. But Saturn, Neptune in the 5th house is like, the physical part might be like, it's a bit new or restrictive, or you're insecure about this, right? It could be as simple as that. And then when this new moon is happening in your 8th house, off you go. You kind of trust yourself and that other person, and off you go. So that's one part that it could be planning out. On another level, this could mean that it's more on a financial level. It's money of other people, like it's the money that we get. Jupiter in Cancer, in its own sign, in its exaltation, and in its money, it could mean an expansion of money for sure. And but again, not during the month of June, because of that square to Saturn. So there could be like investments that you're doing for the long run, and in that year span, there's going to be expansion for sure. But with Saturn, Neptune in the fifth, there could be risky business in the beginning, or it could mean that you're taking a calculated risk, something like that. It's not going to go short term, your investment, but in the long run, over the span of a year, you could say that there is growth happening for you for sure, without you having to do that much. It sounds a bit like investments, right? Investments, or where you put your money in somewhere and then you're saying, look, I don't have to look after that much, but maybe in the beginning it's a bit of a worry, and so on. Could be that as well. Also, what it could mean is that there is inheritances, and of course, this is not something that most people love, but it's that you have to look more at just this Jupiter in the 8th house, by the way, because the 8th house has to do with life and death, so I have to mention it. But it's possible that there could be an inheritance, and in the beginning there's a bit of a struggle, maybe with children, maybe with, it's not going as you want it to go, and you feel restricted in your expression. But all in all, in the long run, it kind of sorted itself out, and even better than you ever expected, something like that. Also with tax returns, can also mean a growth of the income of your spouse. Maybe your spouse, for instance, is losing his job, and you're freaking out, but then ultimately he or she is getting a new job and even better off than before, and having a raise. So things like that are possible. Whatever it can also mean getting pregnant, right? Jupiter in the 8th house, your ruler, because also that is about new life and death, for sure. I remember when I had Jupiter in my 8th house, and I'm a Sagittarius rising, I got pregnant. So it was definitely like expansion and feeling good and feeling very hopeful, but it's also a big change, right? It's a drastic change. Your life is never, with drastic I mean your life is never going to be the same as before. It makes a huge impact. So, and meanwhile, you're going to have that Venus in the sixth house, trining, and a trine energy, you could say, to Mars in the 10th. So your money houses of the work and so on are working very well, and actually attracting that at the same time. So meanwhile, when it comes to your work, definitely after the 19th, the 18th, 19th, Mars in your 10th house means that you might be a little bit more active when it comes to your work and your career. And but Venus in the 6th shows like getting along with co-workers, or getting along with people that you employ, or just enjoying your work. Venus enjoying your day-to-day life, basically. Yeah. So Capricorns, this is happening this is important because you are also a cardinal sign, just like Cancer. And particularly the Capricorns between 0 and 4 degrees, they are going to feel this very, very much. I'm just checking if the sound is still going. Oh, and I'm getting like very small on the video. Anyway, so for you, it's important, and but for all the Capricorns, by the way, and it's in your opposite sign. So there's a lot going on a relationship level. Let's put it that way. Even if you're saying, Veerle, there's nothing happening, there is something happening with the attitude of how you do relationship. If that is the case, if you say, I have no relationship, I'm not intending to, and you have all this stuff going on in your 7th house, it's your attitude around relationships that is definitely, in this case, expanding. Jupiter in your 7th house is one of the best transits that one can have, or it's definitely very supportive when it comes to your romantic relationships, your business partner relationships, your clients. If you if you're self-employed, and Jupiter in the 7th can mean an expansion of clients. Now, remember, in the beginning, this square to your ruler, Saturn and Neptune, and that is, of course, in your 4th house of your emotional well-being. and of your home, literally. So it could mean that there is some restrictions, some insecurities around home, around family in the beginning of that month, right, in June, so that you don't feel that expansion so much when it comes to your personal relationships and your business partners and your clients. But that is only temporary. And it's certainly about, you could say, finding more purpose, finding more meaning in other people. Also, I've seen that very much, that Jupiter in the seventh, that there is some sort of a mentor that comes into your life when that happens. So check that out as well. And that gives you purpose for who's really wise as well. Jupiter represents wise, the wise man, the wise woman. And that's going to help you in the growth and expansion of your life. Now, meanwhile, you're having this big support as well, because you're a nerd sign, of Venus in your fifth house, trining Mars in the ninth. This is lovely. This is lovely. This means that you're having a good time and you have all the energy here available for you with Venus in the fifth house, enjoying your hobbies, enjoying the things that you love to do, enjoy the presence of your children if you have them, enjoying love, enjoying a romance. And Mars in the ninth house, maybe by travel, because of you traveling, because of you studying somewhere. And Mars in the ninth is being very active in the mind. It's being very active, like I have a Mars in Virgo in the ninth, for instance, and I'm doing this, right, which is, using astrology, which is about expanding and understanding the consciousness. And because of that, you can make better choices for sure. So there's definitely for you a lot of fire houses that are kind of in the spotlight here, and that's very positive for sure. And also to maybe doing a trip to a far away place, or a new study, or you expressing something that is going to reach a big public, could be that as well. All very interesting. Aquarians, this is happening in your sixth house. Jupiter in the house of your day-to-day work, your day-to-day life, your habits, your health as well. So particularly if you had some struggles there, Jupiter in the sixth shows that you're going to find meaning and purpose in your good health and in your day-to-day life. So your lifestyle could be really, really going expanding here and going forwards. Maybe not in June because of that square to Saturn, Neptune in your third house. So one week you think this and the other week you think something else. So there could be some insecurities around how you see things in the logical way. But all in all, in the long run, Jupiter in your sixth house means an expansion of work, means you finding more purpose in work. So maybe you are dealing in your mind with a new job that you want to do. And it might not happen now in June, but in the long run, it's there. It's this expansion and this positivity, this purpose. These days is so important, right? That a lot of people don't find purpose in what they're doing. Now, for you, this is possible here. For people who have people working under them, you could be attracting people who are very, very wise, who are very, very good for your expansion of your company. Again, maybe not in the beginning because they have to learn lots of things, but definitely in the long run. Now, and also if you find yourself, having a lot of work, Jupiter in the sixth is like, yeah, I have a lot of work, but I enjoy it. That's Jupiter in your sixth house for sure. It's also finding this purpose in almost your day-to-day routines, right? So finding, you find that it's important for you and you see it and you don't experience it as like the hard discipline that you have to do. It kind of flows, like you can, there's some freedom there that is definitely available for you. Now, Venus is going to be in your fourth house and Mars in your eighth, which is the emotional houses, the water houses. So there is more energy flowing there. Venus in the fourth means, if you can, of course, you spend some time home, or you beautify your home. You could be doing new curtains and new whatever in the home. It's the interior that I mean, not really the hardware, it's the software. So you could be beautifying that. And Mars in the eighth means being active, of receiving money of other people to do those beautifications, for instance, at home. It could also mean that you're being very active in investments, right? The real estate, or not necessarily real estate, but investments that you're working hard for and that give you more emotional well-being and more stability. And give a party at home, Venus in the fourth. Pisceans, last but not least, this is beautiful for you, this Jupiter in Cancer, absolutely, because you're a fellow water sign. So, and it's in your fifth house. So this is expand, and Jupiter is your ancient ruler. So you're gonna really feel this, that this is a bit, from the Jupiter in Gemini, where you had to be a little bit more alternative, where you have to find your way in a bit more unnatural way. Now it's into Cancer, where you're going to feel more that things go easier for you. And it's in your fifth house, which is the house of love, which is the house of creativity, which is the house of self-expression. So definitely the Pisceans who had a rough time for whatever reason, coming into that fifth house means that you are in that fifth house. It means that you are spending more time, finding more time to do fifth house stuff, which is making babies, having babies. If you have children, you could really enjoy how they are growing, and you feel that has a knock-on effect on you as well. The fifth house is also romance, so you could be falling in love. And of course, this ruler of yours is squaring up to Saturn, Neptune, right? And particularly like in the midst of the month. So, and that is in your 11th house, no, your second house. So in the beginning, it could mean like you feel very expansive and whatnot, but something is restricting you and something you're getting insecure about. That could be money, like a hobby that you want to do, right? Jupiter in the fifth, you want to do a hobby, it's in Cancer, maybe cooking or whatnot. And it's costing a lot of money, could be that. And you're saying, wow, how can I do this different? How can I rearrange this? It could be as simple as that. And then at the end of the month, off you go. You have sorted it out, whatever it was that kind of made you a bit more insecure around this. On another level, this could also mean new projects, new businesses that you want to start up. And definitely the fifth house is also your own business, creating it. Your own babies is often, when people have their own businesses, they feel like it is their own creation. So you could be trying to start that up. And I say trying because in the beginning, that Saturn, Neptune in your second house, there is like, am I be able to gonna do this? Is it gonna work? These insecurities, these financial insecurities can pop up in the beginning. But in the long run, this Jupiter is gonna stay there for the whole year. Approximately 12 months that Jupiter is going to be in that fifth house. It is nice. It doesn't matter how old you are. I've always seen that Jupiter, especially your ruler in that fifth house, it creates like optimism and the juiciness of life and the enjoyment, and you get invitated for this and for that, and the things that you love to do, whether it is going out there, going to the cinema, theater, you name it, it's more possible with this energy. So enjoy it for sure and be open for that expansion. Meanwhile, Venus in the third house, trining Mars in the seventh, beautiful because this is earth energy that goes well with your Piscean energy. Venus in the third, you could be doing a short trip, you could be learning something, a skill. You could be, and it trines Mars in the seventh house, so another person could be involved here. It definitely can mean love, right? And Mars in the seventh is being very active with a lover, being very active with someone else, or attracting someone who's very Mars-like, but in a good way because it trines this Venus energy, you could say, at the same time. So this means a person who knows what they want. Mars is all about that, and a little bit more that go-getter mentality, but you kind of see it in a more positive way of yes, you're going places, so to speak. Anyway, enjoy your ruler being in Cancer in that fifth house of creation. If you are a creative person, which probably all of you Pisceans are, I've actually never connected with a Piscean who wasn't creative at all. No. But anyways, it probably exists. Probably I'm going to get a comment like, yeah, I'm a Piscean, I'm not creative. Could be, could be. But if you are, when it comes to your work, your job, or in general, this could mean a lot of inspiration. Jupiter in Cancer, your ruler there, being very inspired and very creative and very expansive in that way, which is enjoyable, isn't it? Anyway, having said that, thank you so much for watching. And this were the monthly horoscopes for June. If you want to have a reading with me, check out the link below towards my website. You will see the different possibilities there, and of course, have a very good June. Bye.